Okay, so you can hear me, Dr. Lytle, I'm assuming? Yep. Uh, let me let me put this here. Okay, awesome. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah? Cool. So, yeah, today I'll be talking about ARC and what ARC is. So, my name is Murilo Gustinelli. I'm from Brazil. I've been in the US for 13 years now or so. And I work as a machine learning engineer at Voxel 51. It's a startup focused on visual, computer vision, physical AI, that kind of stuff. And I've been part of the data science club at Georgia Tech for 3 years now, almost 4 years actually. And I'm doing my master's in computer science at Georgia Tech, doing the online version. So I actually moved to Atlanta to be closer to campus because I've been so involved in research. And yeah, me and my friend, we started ARC like 3 years ago, and we've been running the club or the group within the data science club ever since, and we've been growing. And I'm very interested in deep learning, computer vision, representation learning, and a lot of my research has been towards biodiversity conservation using machine learning. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about what ARC is, what is CLAF, which is the conference that we participate, some of the competition timelines, attending previous CLAF conferences, where we are right now, the meetings that we do, like the cadence, how the meetings are, or work with the PACE cluster here at Georgia Tech. We have quite a big partnership with them. And the difference between the spring and fall semesters, how we run basically those semesters, and then look into the future, and I'll open up for any questions that you guys may have. Okay, so what is ARC? ARC stands for Applied Research and Competitions, and it's basically a group within the SGT that provides a lot of hands-on experience, is particularly in machine learning and information retrieval, but those in a competitive setting kind of challenges. And we've been mainly participating in CLAF. So CLAF stands for Conference and Labs of the Evaluation Forum. It's a European conference. It happens in Europe every year, and they change the country every year. So last year was in Spain, the year before was in France, the year before it was in Greece, and this year is going to be in Germany. And also, we have a partnership with the Pace cluster. So we do all of our compute and storage. Like we deal with a lot of data. This is the data science club, so it's very fitting. Basically, Pace is the HPC cluster here at Georgia Tech, and it's where we train all of our models and basically use a lot of GPUs, which is nice. And then we have a spring and a fall basically timelines. We're thinking about introducing something in the summer now as well, but that's gonna be new. Um, but yeah, spring is when we do most of our research, and then in the fall we run an interest group. So talking a little bit about ARC, we have a website that you guys can access. Actually, let me show it to you guys. So if I go here, we have this website. You can go and check it out and have different tabs, like how to join us. And if you scroll down, there's like the spring semester and the fall semester, but it has some cool information on the website itself. There's also like our history and how we started the group and like attending conferences. And we also have all of our publications here. So as you can see, we've published quite a lot in the past years. So yeah, feel free to browse that if you'd like. It's dsgt-arc.org. And then we also have a YouTube channel, and that's mainly where we basically post all of our meetings. So you can find a lot of stuff that we have done and presented in the past on our YouTube channel. Going back here. So, okay, so that's basically what our club is. We tackle like research competitions in a research kind of setting. CLAF, it's a conference. It happens, like I said, every year in Europe. It stands for Conference and Labs of the Evaluation Forum, and it basically addresses multilingual and multimodal problems using machine learning. So Clef, like I said, is a conference and it has many labs. So all of the labs that the conference is hosting this year is those 16 labs right here. So BioAsk, check that, Eloquent. For example, BioAsk tackles large-scale biomedical semantic indexing and question answering. If we go to, for example, LiveClay is about multimedia retrieval in nature, so biodiversity conservation challenges. If we talk about ImageClay, multimodal and multimodal challenges in Clef, they do a lot of like computer vision kind of work. But there's many labs, and each lab has their own flavor, and they're trying to tackle basically different tasks, let's say. This year, as you can see, those are like the number of teams that were registered for each lab. So you can see that labs like ImageClay are quite popular. There's more than 250 unique teams registered. And then we also have Exist, very popular lab, and then we also have LiveClay. So basically, you can kind of see how attractive or popular each lab is. So the Clay 2026 competition timeline. So the way how it goes is, like I said, we do most of our research in the spring. That's because in the spring is when the conference is hosted. So basically, January, February, it's when we start or when the competitions starts for all of those 16 labs that I said, and they go until May. So basically, from January through May, we divide ourselves into teams. Each team is tackling a competition, a specific competition, and then the competition ends. In June, we have an opportunity to write a working note paper and submit to the conference. It goes through peer review, and then in July, we get if the paper was accepted, and then in September, we actually get to attend the conference in Europe. If you'd like, you don't have to, but it's pretty nice. And the time commitment, I'd say it's equivalent to a 3 credit course, so about 150 hours per semester. It can be less or more, depending how much you want to invest. It's really up to you. It's like you get out what you put in. So talking about previous conferences and just attending them. So this was the first time that I attended Clay, which was in Grenoble, France. So you have a picture of me and Anthony and Terry and Shashank. Those were people that did the research with us here at Georgia Tech. They are, or they were master's students. Anthony has recently graduated and he actually started the group with me. He's like in the middle of the picture with me and also in the last picture as well with me. And there's a picture of Anthony also presenting at the conference. So we got to go and present our research at the conference. And then later, Anthony and I even got to do some traveling in Europe. So we ended up going to Switzerland and yeah, just went to the French Alps as well, which was quite lovely. And then in 2025, there was a group of 10 of us that attended Madrid in Spain. I unfortunately was not able to go, but they had a great time. David is here, so, and he went to Madrid. Um, but yeah, it's going to the conference. It's just really cool because we do a lot of really hard work on those, in the spring semester entirely. And then we publish a paper, and then you got to go to the conference and you got to meet all of the other people that worked on the same problem that you did. And you get to talk to them and meet them. And most of them are PhD students, but you also get to meet professors and maybe even some people that work in industry that, ended up doing the same challenges that you did. So attending the conference was awesome. And also the food, I mean, amazing. And then recently we have started to branch out to other conferences that are not Clay or Clef. So basically, last year I got the chance to present a poster of my research at CVPR. If you are not aware of CVPR, it stands for Computer Vision and Pattern Recognition. It is one of the biggest conferences in AI on the entire planet. Basically, there were about 9 to 10,000 people attending. All of the really big tech companies were there, like Google DeepMind, Meta, NVIDIA, you name it. They were there basically presenting like the top research stuff that they're working on. So it was really nice attending the conference and representing your group there. Talking about our group and where we are right now. So basically, the group started back in 2022. And at the time, it was basically just a group of 5 people that Anthony started. And we published one paper because we were just doing one competition. And then 2023 was when I joined. And again, we only published one paper. It was just one group of 4 people. And then in 2024 was when Anthony decided to expand the group because we saw there were a lot of people at Georgia Tech who were also interested in doing research, but they didn't really know how to get started. And we already had some experience providing some guardrails and structure on how to participate in those competitions. So we actually expanded the group. We ended up publishing 11 papers, and there were 22 authors in 2024. 2025, we basically doubled in size. We ended up publishing 21 papers and we had 45 authors. And then this year, we're basically on the same track as 2025. We have about 46 people currently participating, and we're on track of publishing about 20 papers or so. So some of the papers that we have published, I'm not going to go through all of those, but if you're interested, you can read them. So for example, the first one, Beyond Retrieval, Assembling Cross-Encoders and GPT Re-Rankers with LLMs for Biomedical QA. So that's basically information retrieval and natural language processing if you are interested in that. Another paper to highlight, one of the papers that I've done, distilling spectrograms in tokens, fast and lightweight bioacoustic classification for BoardClass 2025. So I can actually go here and kind of showcase a little bit of the paper to you guys and what's about. So basically, this is the paper that we published at CLAF, and I'm just gonna go over like some of the figures. So yeah, we ended up doing research. We got to publish the paper. In this figure here, for example, we're just showcasing the embeddings of the top 10 most frequent species that are in the data set. So basically, board clay is about identifying bird calls in audio. We have like 200 hours of audio, and you have to classify which birds are calling in 5-second intervals of that audio. This image just shows like a lower dimensional representation of high dimensional embeddings that we extracted using a model, and we plotted them to see how well the model was basically able to cluster those species. But yeah, like all of those papers, you guys can go and check it out. And then there's even like one more page of papers here that if you like to see. But those are like the 21 or so papers that we published last year. So talking about meetings and cadence, well, it really depends about like if you're doing research with us in the spring or in the fall. But basically, I'm gonna focus on the spring semester for now. So we basically have monthly general meetings. Those are once per month. All of the teams present. They're about 1.5 hour to 2 hour long meetings, and they're almost like a tiny conference. Basically, every month you have some kind of let's say proposal. For example, the first month we talk about exploratory data analysis. The next month we talk about modeling. The other month we talk about results. So there's a theme for each month, like I said here. And then we also have weekly meetings, and those are for the teams. So each team is basically focused on tackling one task, and they have their own weekly meetings. Those are 30-minute meetings. The teams find the best time for them, and they meet within themselves. Teams are roughly about 3 people. That's really the sweet spot. I think that less than that, it's not that good because you don't have as many people to fall back on if you'd like. And too many people, then there's not enough work. Like work gets too diluted between the people within the team. And we also have like hack sessions on the weekends. Those are optional. I used to host them on Saturdays and Sundays between 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. But yeah, and then we do have someone here from the club to talk with you guys about. So this is Harshal. You're a freshman, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so Harshal is a freshman. He just joined us this semester. And it's your first time doing research with us in the club.
Yeah.
So he's here to talk about some of the research that he's been doing and his experience.
Yeah. Just like, can you guys hear me in the back? Well, okay, cool. Yeah. So like, thanks, Marilla, for introducing me. For some context, again, yeah, I'm a freshman. This is my first year at Georgia Tech. Last semester, I participated in the fall interest group, and I think it really gave me a lot of good context on what is research like, how can I actually like perform it, and specifically like with Clay, like what is the tasks, what are the different labs, and what can I work on? So the specific lab I'm working on is the PAN lab. It's about digital stylometry, which is kind of just like text and information. And the specific task I'm working on is called void_conf. I didn't put on the slide, but basically it's just you have to determine if a piece of text is AI generated or human written, just given the input with the raw text and potentially some obfuscation, where some characters are misaligned or they put in some random words or use like paraphrasing. There's lots of different things they can throw at you, and it's your job just to output a classification of either it's human or AI. So yeah, I'm just gonna walk through like what my process has been this semester, like getting started with the research, going from the data to like my final modeling solution, and just how I felt again as a first year. But yeah, on the right, this is just the distribution of data that I was provided. They gave us around, I think, 24K training samples and a smaller validation set. And the actual like evaluation set where I'll be graded on for the competition is still yet to be released. But again, I'm assuming it'll be different AI models with different obfuscations. So just keep in mind that robustness is a big priority for my solution. Um, Listed are just the different I guess, metrics that I'm being graded on. These aren't really super relevant, I guess, to grasp right now, but these are just the different things that I need to be aware of. The most important one is the ROC AUC, which is the area under the receiver operating curve. This is just saying how well calibrated is my model at actually predicting whether this is human or AI. A perfect curve would have a 1, and I guess the worst possible curve would have 0. Um, Again, the other ones are kind of similar. Again, I just want to score a 1 versus a 0. But yeah, these are all different ways to measure how good my model is on different dimensions. And on the bottom, it's kind of just like a progression of how exactly did my solution change over time. I kind of started with more traditional ML strategies just to see if I just use linear regression or something like LightGBM, how well is it at modeling this? But the problem is somewhat complex. We can't really, I guess, represent text that well with just numerical analysis. So I switched to using more, I guess, language modeling solutions such as transformers and eventually LLMs. And so far, what I'm working with right now is Quen 2.5. Uh, oh, there we go. Yeah. So right now, the best solution that I've been working with is Quen 2.5 and LoRa fine-tuning. LoRa just means low rank adaptation, which means we attach a small weight matrix at the end of our language model, and we train that instead of training the whole model. It's just more compute efficient and easier to do. I've just been training on the test set alongside some out of distribution data and then evaluating on our own validation data and a different set of out of distribution data. This again, we want to remember that robustness is important here, which is why I'm using out of distribution data to actually, again, see is my model able to adapt to things it hasn't seen before. And surprisingly, like this very simple and straightforward technique has been working pretty well. It's been getting, I don't know if you guys can see like the numbers in the bottom right, but it's been doing pretty well on both in distribution and out of distribution data. So I'm pretty happy with my results. Um, I'm still, again, struggling on a couple data sets here. It's kind of hard to tell. Again, I know the numbers are small, but the two lines that I've highlighted are two different out of distribution data sets that my model is currently struggling on. So my next steps as of right now are I'm going to figure out why it's struggling on these and again, try to uh, fix this, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would say like pen is good for like a very introductory task. There's definitely lots of more difficult tasks. I think image tasks are somewhat more complex. There's a lot more, I guess, space that you can explore there. But yeah, overall, I've had a pretty good experience. Like again, I'm just a first year. I feel like if I can do it, you guys can probably do it too. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun as well. And also thanks to Marilla for mentoring me throughout this. But yeah, that's my project so far.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, so Harshu is a freshman and he's actually doing this kind of solo. We have bi-weekly meetings and I've been kind of guiding him and providing some feedback, but he's been doing an amazing job by himself. But usually we have our group or each team, it's roughly 3 people each team, and we have leads and members, which leads me to the next slide. So basically, the way how we structure things is that we form teams, and each team is tackling one of the tasks within Clay or whatever conference that we're participating, but talking about Clay here. So basically, we have a team member and a team lead. The difference is that a team member is executing a lot of the ideas that you come up with. You have an idea that you want to implement, so you can go ahead and implement that idea, but you're basically like an individual contributor. So it's very similar how you would work in a company. You'd have like something that you are responsible for implementing, and then you go ahead and you implement that, and then other people on your team, they're implementing their own pipelines and workflows, and sometimes there's really good synergy between what you're doing and other people are doing. And the team lead, by the way, is also implementing stuff, but on top of that, it's basically the person that owns the research. By owning, I really mean is the person who is responsible for publishing the paper or sending the paper for peer review. So in that case, Harshul, for example, he's doing the task by himself, and I'm kind of um, helping in a way, or at least meeting with you like on a bi-weekly basis. But he's basically doing everything from the scoping of the research to the implementation to then writing the paper, submitting the paper to the conference, going through the peer review feedback process, and then publishing the paper and hopefully attending the conference as well. Um, so yeah, both team leads and members, they're expected to commit time, to have strong programming skills, and really just be curious about the problem that they're trying to solve. And then talking about the PACE cluster. So if you guys don't know, PACE is the cluster, the HPC cluster Georgia Tech. HPC stands for high performance computing. And basically it's just a place that has a bunch of servers, like you can see in the top right picture. Basically a lot of GPUs and CPUs that we can use. And we have like basically a really good partnership with PACE. This year alone, PACE gave us basically $20,000 in credit for compute alone. And this has been the largest pay ship that Georgia Tech has ever processed by far, which is kind of cool. And it kind of shows the success that our group has had in the previous years. So yeah, so Grigory from Pace, he said, and I quote, "It took me forever to apply the PayShip this semester. It is by far the largest PayShip we have ever processed, but I'm finally, all caps, I'm finally done." Um, Talking about the spring and fall semester. So like I said, spring is research time. It's when we do most of the research for the entire year. In the fall semester, it's when we actually conduct an interest group. So if you guys are actually interested in getting to know more about us and kind of get a feel for what research is about and learning how to use PACE, which is going to be highly, I'd say, helpful for a lot of the classes that you're going to be doing. We teach all of that in the fall, even like introduction to machine learning and things like that. So I think that the best way to, if you're interested about participating in machine learning competitions or interested about checking what research is about, the best way to join us is to join us in the fall semester. It's very, in the fall is very different than the spring. It's very low commitment. We do have a lot of hands-on exercises and projects that you guys can do, but yeah, it's very different than the spring. The spring is full-on research. And we also started doing we're thinking about doing like a future seminar. I'm not quite sure about that, but we started doing CS 8903 with Dr. Nick Lytle, who's actually joining us today in the meeting. So basically, we're now providing, through the help of Dr. Lytle, we're providing a 3 credit course for master students that they can take. I know that most of you guys are doing your undergrad. You'd be nice to actually provide something similar for undergrads, that if you'd like to join us, you can actually do research for credit. That would be amazing. And I do think that that would be a viable option. We just haven't explored that. But it'd be quite nice that if you're doing your undergrad, you'd be able to join us and do research, and you can get a paper at the end of your undergrad studies, and you can put that on your resume, like a tangential, like something that you can actually um, help in the job search or whatever you want to do. About the fall interest group, like I said, is really the best way to join us. Who's the fall interest group for? Really, any member from the SGT. No prior competition or really machine learning experience. We're going to be doing a lot of the teaching or providing the tools and the information for you guys to learn that stuff. And yeah, if you're curious about data science and machine learning competitions, and if you're interested in doing research in a competitive setting. And what you're going to gain hands-on experience through competitive challenges like the ones hosted on Kaggle or Clef. You're going to learn from a team. So not only from people like myself, who has been working in the industry for like more than 5 years now. Before my job at the startup, I was a senior AI software engineer at Intel. So I did a lot of stuff with LLMs, optimization, things like that. And you're also going to build a lot of connections and skills. Also, not only myself, but we have like pretty amazing people at the group who have been working in tech for like up to 10 years. We have people from NVIDIA, we have people from Google, we have people working at other startups. So we have like really good people that are doing their masters, and they can basically, as undergrads, you can pair with them and learn from them. So I feel like that's a very valuable experience. And then look into the future. Like I said, the CLAF conference this year is going to be in Germany in September, and we're going. So very excited about that. If you'd like to basically go to Europe during your undergrad studies, that would be a very cool excuse to do that. Basically, you get a paper published and you also get to travel. That seems like a win-win situation for me. And that's really it. Does anybody has any questions? No questions? Everybody's gonna join? Yeah? Yeah, definitely the latter. If you have just a little bit of knowledge, if you know the basics of programming and you're willing to like learn and pick it up, you can definitely join. And yeah, it's a lot of the research that we do, it's mostly like you get out what you put in. And I would say I've been doing this for like 3, 4 years now, and what I got out from the group has been more valuable than any class that I have ever taken at Georgia Tech. And I don't even say that myself. I have other people who have started with us during their undergrads and now they're finishing their masters. And they also gave like pretty positive feedback on their experience doing research with us. They're like, it's been truly amazing. It's something that they can put on their resumes. When I was interviewing people in the past by working industry, seeing some kind of like paper in a resume definitely stands out. So, but yeah, you can definitely pick it up, and you don't need like super a lot of experience, let's say. Any other questions? No questions? Okay. Thank you very much.